Hey class, welcome to section 2.3, talking about the Middle Colonies. In the colonial area, the Middle Colonies. What you see here are a couple of people. This guy down here on the bottom right here, this is a man named Henry Hudson. Pretty important player. He's actually English, but right now he is sailing for the Dutch, for the Netherlands. The year is 1609, and while he is sailing along the east coast of America, he discovers this river right here. This river, which today is called the Hudson River after Henry Hudson, is in New York State today. Well, he claims New York, this whole area through here, for the Dutch and calls it New Netherland and names New Amsterdam as its kind of capital city. This is 1609 it's going. And so the Dutch now have a claim to this area, or so they think they do. This man over here is Peter Minuit, M-I-N-U-I-T. He becomes the first governor of New Netherlands, and he's actually going to purchase the island of Manhattan, where New York City is today, from the Indians who were there. And that is really the capital. The Dutch promised large grants of land to anyone who would come and settle this new world and settle this area. Those large grants of land were called patroons, P-A-T-R-O-O-N-S. So the Dutch are living there. They're doing okay. And they've settled themselves. Again, you see that on the map over here, this whole area we're talking about. However, you may remember a man named John Cabot. Well, back in 1497, John Cabot had claimed the entire East Coast for Great Britain. Well, now we have a conflict because Henry Hudson says he claimed it for the Dutch. However, his claim was 100 years later. So John Cabot's claim gives the English the right to it. So in 1664, the King of England gives this land to his brother, this man right here, called the Duke of York. The Duke of York. He sends in warships and takes the area over from the Dutch. The Dutch actually quite quickly surrender, and it goes to the English, and they of course rename the area New York after the Duke of York. He renames New Amsterdam New York City after himself as well. So the Dutch have now been removed from the area, and it is now part of Great Britain and given to the king's brother, the Duke of York. Kind of clever. Another key middle colony is the colony of Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is founded by this man right here, William Penn. William Penn. And you can see the middle colony here in the middle. Here you can see where New York is in comparison and Massachusetts up here in comparison. Well, he is given this land because the king, King Charles II, owed William Penn's father some money. Well, William Penn's father dies, and so the king decides to repay this by giving land to William Penn. Penn called the land Sylvania. Notice Pennsylvania split it in two. He called it Sylvania, which is the Latin word for woodland, like a forest. But whenever the king talked about the land, he would say, "Oh, over there in the New World, that is Penn's Sylvania," like William Penn's Sylvania, his land. That's where we get the name from, Pennsylvania. Well, William Penn was a Quaker. Notice Quaker Oats, William Penn. And the Quakers really it's a religious group that made a home in Pennsylvania. A few things I want you to know about the Quakers. First of all, they were separatists. They did not try to purify the Church of England. Separatists. Secondly, they viewed all men as equal, regardless of your race, your color, or your social status. Thirdly, they opposed war. They were called pacifists, opposed war. they also refused to take oaths. They said, hey, when I tell you yes or I tell you no, I am good for it. I'm going to stick to my word. Sounds pretty good so far, doesn't it? But this last one's where I get hung up on. They believe that good works is what they had to do for salvation. They didn't believe in faith alone for salvation, but rather their actions. Then they believed they also had a little inner light inside of them that told them what to do. And that was often different than God's word. They believed that inner light superseded or came before following God's word. Those are the Quakers, William Penn, and they are making their home in Pennsylvania. A third group I want to mention is Delaware. Well, in 1638, the Swedes claimed Delaware. Notice this very small area right here, so where it's located today as well by Pennsylvania. This is New Jersey today, and New York and so forth. So, they're there. Well, King Charles, of course, says, this is our land, and the land's going to be given over to his brother again, the Duke of York. Here we see pictured again, a little bit less flamboyantly, but still pictured here. So the Duke of York would rule the land for a long time before giving it to Penn in 1682, and it would remain under his authority until 1776. So 4 colonies, 4 areas and states made up the Middle Colonies. Note on this map here, we have New York, we have Pennsylvania, we have New Jersey, and we have Delaware. Those 4 colonies made up the Middle Colonies. Have a good one. Bye.